Hi everybody, we're here at the Refugees to talk about some recent events that have come up in the gaming community, and this is a series we are going to call Let's Talk. So recently what's come up is the Oculus pre-orders have become available, and the price has been shown, and a lot of people are not too happy about that. Some people are still all for it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that and share our opinions.
And I think a good place to start would be kind of share where we stand. Why don't you go ahead and say where you are?
Well, I'm all for it as of right now. I think that the price it's reasonable for what tech is inside it. It is expensive, but I think it's reasonably priced.
And where I stand is I actually am torn. I really like the idea of the Oculus Rift. I think it's going to be an awesome, pioneer to the VR sort of idea. But the $600 part is really kind of bringing me down and bringing me out of the way. So we'll discuss that. But in where are you at?
I'm pretty much. I think the VR is awesome. It's such great technology and it's a new media. But for me, it's. I'm not saying it's overpriced. It's just too expensive, and I'm not willing to put my money down on that when it's something I'm not completely. Because we still don't know if all this VR hype is gonna be like Kinect. Like you think it's all cool, but then it just dies out like within. I don't even think it lasted a year. It just kind of like. People liked it for a little bit and were like, whatever, and then game developers stopped making games for it because they weren't selling well because people didn't want to play Kinect games.
Yeah.
So we just have to. We just have to see how it goes.
And we might as well start out right here. $600. Do we think it's worth it at that price or not?
The price that I think
that's the ultimate question.
The price that they set, I think, is worth it just because what you're paying for essentially is just a very nice monitor with motion capabilities. If you look at the specs of it, it's two monitors essentially. Each eye gets a monitor and it doubles the resolution, and it also has motion capabilities. As of right now, though, to my understanding, it can't be used as a standalone monitor. A third-party guy made it with the development kits. It was really grainy and the resolution was really low, but I don't see that not being a thing in the future. I see third-party developers getting a chance to make that so it could just be a really nice monitor.
Yeah, because I think people do spend over $600 on just a monitor.
Yeah, because if you get a nice 2K or 4K monitor, you're spending $600 to $800 on a really nice monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is just a really nice monitor with motion capabilities. And what you get in the box is you get the sensor, you get the Oculus, you get a controller with it, and all the cables for that stuff, and a little remote to help you navigate the menus. But
even though that was said that won't be available on launch. That's what I heard. The motion control.
No, I'm talking about an Xbox One controller. It comes with an Xbox One controller.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a part of the pricing.
The price goes up.
That's a part of the pricing, which a lot of people were saying the 680 was absolutely ridiculous. And if you guys didn't know, the founder of Oculus went on Reddit and had an Ask Me Anything thread, where anybody could just go in there and ask him, hey, what's going on? Like, tell me this. Why is this the way it is?
Yeah.
And on that, actually, if you look on one of the things he asked, somebody said, we wanted to see a stripped down version of the Oculus, one that didn't come with a controller, or one that maybe didn't come with that little remote that you don't exactly need. And he said the amount of money that it went into packaging and getting those items to be placed in the Oculus really actually doesn't impact the price whatsoever. The price that they're charging is just for the headset itself. The stuff in there is extra stuff, as well as the extra games that you get for free, supposedly free. Maybe that tax into the price, but at least what he was saying is the things that come with that are they're negligible. They don't affect the price that much.
But I also guess kind of where my idea stands is that it's expensive. But another thing people need to consider, though, is that this is the first of its kind.
Exactly.
We've seen people give it a shot, with the Wii, with the whole motion sensor, and then we saw, Xbox with their Kinect, and then how the first Kinect was really janky. Just like how the first Wii sensors were also very janky. You had,
a bit,
yeah. And so, but that's part of the gamble, though, is that this is the first of its kind. And so that's the reason why that might be the reason why we're seeing such a high price.
Yeah, first media always becomes expensive. Like when Blu-ray disc players first came out, those things were monstrously expensive. And even way back when there are new video game consoles coming out in the early 90s or the late 80s, some of those things cost as much as what an Xbox One would cost now. And that was the 80s. And whenever new media starts coming out, is a brand new type of media, it costs a lot.
They have to get some sort of pull from it.
Exactly, because there's also a shit ton of research that went into it that they feel like they need to compensate for.
And like another thing is that like they are taking a gamble. I mean, like I've already said, like this is the first of its kind, and so they're going into the unknown. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't exactly know how it's going to work with the gaming world and how people are going to be taking this in. So they are taking a gamble, and with that, they might feel that they need to raise the price. But honestly, though, it's the fact that it's the first of its kind, which is both awesome, but also concerns me. Because we've seen a lot of things come out where it was the first of its kind, like the Wii with the motion sensor. People picked up and dropped that thing like a bag of rocks because people just were really annoyed with it. Because they felt like they didn't want to use this the entire time. And they wanted to use a controller-based system to navigate through everything, and people just dropped that thing. And that's something that I'm worried about with the Oculus Rift, that is that $600 worth it for taking that risk? Because is it going to be as good as all the hype is putting up? And that's where I'm torn, is I do think the $600 is well deserved. Like they have every way in the right to have that $600. But my concern is taking that risk and spending that $600.
Yeah.
Like if there's any faults in the beginning.
But which you have taken.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the one thing though that's for sure securing me with the Oculus is something about Oculus as a company that I've liked. I mean, this thing's been not necessarily in development, but they've had working versions of this device for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And they've been, and the other thing is, it's not like they've just been working inside their own company saying, hey, let's try this out, let's see if we like it. They've been giving it to people and letting people actually use it, real people, YouTubers and stuff like that, just so people can actually use it and give feedback, and you can see it in action, and it works beautifully.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Oculus that I also like is that with their products, they wanted the Touch to come out with the Oculus. They wanted that to be part of it.
Yeah.
But they actually delayed it because they felt as a company that it wasn't ready. And that shows to me that they're more concerned about the product working and not pushing a deadline. And that says a lot to me because, I mean, there's things like that have happened before where they're pushing a deadline. Games do this all the time. Destiny did that. Whenever they released it almost a year early when they shouldn't have, and then you look at a year later and it's what it should have been.
Yeah.
And it's just, now that they're waiting on it, it shows that they have this dedication to making the product work and be what they want it to be. So for it being 3 years and having 2 development kits and the third year coming out, I mean, the only issue that people disagree or have issues with is the development kit 2, I think, was $350. And the price jumped to $680 total, counting shipping and tax.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing we should discuss about is the founder of Oculus. I can't remember his name. I can't pull it up on the top of my head right now.
Palmer Luckey.
Yeah,
I think it's Lucky Palmer. He gave
Lucky Palmer.
Yeah,
I think
he gave a ballpark $350.
Yeah, he did.
And then when it came out 600, people were
Palmer
obviously
Luckey.
not too happy.
Well, actually, and that's something on this Ask Me Anything Reddit that I have up right now. He puts all the blame on himself entirely. He said here, and I quote, "I handled the messaging poorly. Early last year, we started officially messaging that the Rift with recommended spec and PC would be roughly $1,500, and that around that time we committed a path to prioritizing quality over cost." And then he goes on to say that we did say $350 and then well over $350. And he really apologizes several times in this that he shouldn't have even given a ballpark.
Like, just from looking at this, I see I apologize probably about 4
Well,
times.
and then also later on, somebody asked, in what ballpark can we expect the Touch's price to be? Because nobody knows that either. Yeah. And he actually just straight up says, I'm not giving any more ballparks. I've learned my lesson. So he understands greatly that that he should have just either straight up told people a price or just not said anything until it just came out. Because people got this expectation of a price, and when they saw it, I mean, like, I don't know what people were really expecting, though. I know they heard the 350 and that calmed their nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, it's a really nice, fully functioning motion monitor. So, I mean, you look at those, again, they're like a $300 monitor is like a really nice, decent 1080p monitor. Or not decent, like really nice monitor. I got mine for $200. But you look at a 4K and those things are crazy expensive. So
because they are brand
2K
new.
was $500.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the best monitor.
Give it 2 years, those things are going to be $300.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, another thing to bring up that we can go ahead and talk about also is that people are saying, now that they've set the price, what are other companies going to do? Like HTC Vive, and what is the Morpheus going to do for PlayStation? And if you ask my opinion personally, I think as far as the Morpheus goes, I think either the price is going to be a lot cheaper than the Oculus, mainly just because that the price for that, because the Morpheus is going to have to draw back a lot. Because if you look at the system requirements for the Oculus, you need a high-end PC to run that. It needs to be a pretty dang good PC.
That's something that needs to be clear with the people that are watching, is that the Oculus does need to run on a high-end system. So if you're using it on like a laptop with like a 1 gig graphics card, or honestly even a 2 gig, is 2 gig like the minimum? Like what's the minimum for the graphics processor?
They didn't say a gig, but they said it need to be a Radeon 290.
Okay, so Radeon 290, so that's a 3 gig card. I believe.
At least I think.
Yeah, so the 290 is a 3 gig card. So if you're running like on a 2 gig system, you're not gonna be able to run it. So that is one thing. Another thing to consider though is that if you are running on a low end system, then it's going to be more than $600 for you. That's something that you have to think about. Yeah. Because for us, we have high-end systems. So for us, we don't really have to like worry about getting anything upgraded to our system in order to play the Oculus. Our systems already meet the minimum.
Yeah.
And so we're fine. So $600 is the flat for us. But if you guys are interested in the Oculus, you're gonna have to invest into a higher system, and that's kind of the catch. There's always a bigger fish in a sense.
Yeah. And going back to what Jordan's saying, but so if the Oculus needs really good PC to run, what we talk about HTC Vive and the Morpheus, especially the Morpheus, because that's going to be kind of like exclusive for the PS4.
Yeah.
At least we think. I don't think it's.
I don't think it
works
Sony.
on the PC. On PC, like. Obviously, a PS4 is not gonna match up to like a $1,500 rig.
Yeah.
So is the Morpheus not gonna be like as great?
Well, I just think they're gonna have to cut back on the tech inside the VR headset.
Yeah.
I just think the resolution's gonna be cut back, the refresh rate's gonna be cut back, and just like what it's capable of. Also, if you think about it, as far as the VR is supposed to make you feel immersed in the game.
Yeah.
And if you think about the games that run on console. Compared to PC, and I use Just Cause 3 as an example because I just recently got that actually from you on the Xbox, and it would drop below 20 frames.
Yeah.
And I got it on my PC, and it locked 60 frames minimum, or go higher than that because I have a high-end system.
Exactly.
And my point of immersion is that if you play it on a PlayStation 4 and you're seeing screen tearing or you're seeing pixels in the games,
it breaks the immersion.
It breaks the immersion. Where you look at a game that you can run on a PC, what it's capable of, it just like can run this crazy. It looks a lot better,
And
so they're gonna have to draw back more.
You and me have tried the Morpheus when we went to Comic-Con
tried the
last
Morpheus
year,
at Comic-Con.
but we were just doing like this little puzzle game where
the like Tetris
it's just
thing,
a little
right?
square, and then it keeps adding on blocks, and you have to turn it the right way so it can fit through a hole that's down the tunnel.
Yeah.
But so it wasn't nothing like crazy or like even really immersive. So we can't really make too much of a judgment call on that because that game didn't look like it was.
And obviously the consoles are capable. They're just not as capable as
a PC
well, and
might be.
that's the other thing people are talking about pricing. People are saying your move HTC Vive. If the HTC Vive can have the same system requirements as the Oculus, the HTC Vive though, I know one thing that it has because I was talking to a buddy who wants the Oculus but is torn between the price also.
Yeah.
The HTC Vive has a front-facing camera. I don't know if you knew this, but it has it on the front. So like when you're in the VR headset, it shows you what's in front of you. So if you need to pick something up, you can flip on the camera and you can see what's in front of you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've seen that. Because if you look at the headset, there's all these little cameras everywhere on that.
So like what that does though, that's obviously gonna up the price.
Yeah.
So and the Oculus doesn't have that. So when people are saying it's their move now for pricing, I feel like that's just gonna be even more because there's more tech in there.
And what I'm also scared of is that the Project Morpheus is gonna come out. It's gonna be like $300.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, like.
Oculus sucks now. It's too
Oculus
overpriced.
sucks now, way overpriced. But like when the Project Morpheus is probably not.
I just think it's
not
not going to be able to do as
Actually, you know what?
much.
This brings up a really good point. Actually, when I worked as a computer salesman, I remember customers would always come in and they would go, "Oh, hey, I see this $200 laptop on ad. Can I get this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, you could get it."
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not going to be great. How about I show you this? How about I show you this $600 laptop? How about I show you this $700 laptop? Oh no, I don't really want that. It's like, you sure?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be getting frustrated at this $200 laptop. You're gonna be throwing it out the window, coming back, buying another $200 laptop, so on and so forth. Lather, rinse, repeat. As opposed to if you pay good money for a good system, you will be getting a good system. If you pay cheap money for a cheap system, you're getting a cheap system. And that's something I think is kind of the gamble here. That $600, I think, is honestly there for a reason.
Yeah,
like we
exactly.
said,
you get what you pay for.
Exactly, you're getting what you pay for. I mean, the Morpheus, if you see the Morpheus or the HTC Vive come out, and it's going to be like $300, $200, whatever, you're getting what you pay for. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be as great. There might be some pixelation, there could be some screen tearing, there could be some frame drops, Because that's one thing that we need to consider about the Oculus, is that it is made for high-end systems. That alone catches my eye. As far as me being in the torn, is that catches my eye in a good way, is that it's required for high-end systems, which means it has to have enough power to sustain it.
Yeah.
And that it alone gives me hope that it's a good system. Yeah. That it's worth the
Hopefully
price.
I don't need to get a new power supply.
Well, I mean, like, I'm just reading through the Reddit post that I see here, and again, like, he says right at the halfway down whenever he's talking about how he messed up with the ball parking, he's apologizing for that. He says, to be perfectly clear, we don't make any money on the Rift. The Xbox controller cost us almost nothing to bundle it with that. So that's going back to what we were saying earlier. But down at the very end, he just starts talking about how that the Oculus comes with 2 built for VR OLED displays with very high refresh rate, pixel density, a very precise tracking system, mechanical adjustment systems, and he's just going through like all of the reason why the price is that higher, because it has really high-end technology in it. So it's going to be one of the better VR headsets out there, because again, the other ones, this is their first time doing stuff, and I'm sure they tested it with them themselves, but Oculus, to my understanding, is the only, I could be wrong on this, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only company that has pushed out development kits for the public to use. Yeah. It's not just inside the company.
There's no one on YouTube with the HTC Vive.
Yeah, it's only Oculus. You only see the Oculus.
I don't think so. I've never seen it.
That's actually something else that really just kind of gives me some hope, is that the Oculus has been technically being beta tested for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whereas we see something, we in the past we could have seen something new come out, and then like it gets tested for a little bit, like maybe like 3 months, 2 months, like whatever, and it gets released and ends up being garbage.
Yeah.
Same thing with video games. Like if a video game has a long beta test, giving its users the time necessary to figure out all of the mistakes that could exist in the system or in the game, and then it gets pushed out in the final product, then we actually end up seeing a lot better of a game. Like I remember Halo 3 ended up being, in my opinion, I know there's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with me, a good online game.
Mm-hmm.
Because its beta test was about maybe a month long, which is long for a beta test.
Yeah, that is.
And then Star Wars Battlefront was a week long. It wasn't even a week, it was 4 days.
Mm-hmm. And a month before the game came out.
Exactly. And look how well that did. You know, there was only 2 maps available. And then the game ended up coming out. It's like, cool, I'm playing the beta again. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's like some changes. That's it. But this Oculus Rift has been being tested for 3 years. That's 3 years of time for the developer to figure out any issues that have existed within that 3 years, fix that and polish it, and then release it as final product. And which is something that we haven't seen at all from the Morpheus or HTC Vive.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what's giving me more of the front edge to go out and pre-order the Oculus personally, is that 3-year testing.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing we can do at this point, though, to be honest, is a lot of it's just speculation. We're just going to have to wait to see what the competitors do come out with, what they say about their products, and how much it's going to cost. And again, like compatibility with everything, because like the front runner for me, at least, as soon as I saw the Eve Valkyrie gameplay, because I used to play Eve a lot, just so you guys know. I used to play Eve a lot with Ethan Drury, actually. But that we would go ahead and go and we would play that all the time. And when I saw that online for Eve Valkyrie, and I saw it with the VR headset, like looking around the cockpit and everything, I was like, holy shit, this is like everything that I wanted from Eve in a game. But on top of that, being able to be like in the cockpit and like looking around, and you can actually look at the stuff, and you can like check your health over here and then your ammo over here.
That's pretty
like
badass.
It just felt so cool, and everything you wanted from a space dogfight video game. And it just, the experience for me would be that much better wearing a VR headset.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, a lot of people, if you watch anime, Sword Art Online, people are like, oh my god, we're just going to sit there and become like all locked into that and then get taken over and whatever.
And then then we have to die in the game to die in real life.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time. But I think that we've pretty much covered everything we could cover. So if you want to say your final thoughts.
There's obviously always more to talk about, but Jordan is completely right. It's all speculation at this point. And my personal belief is that after hearing the things that Jordan has had to say, that I'm definitely more on board with getting the Oculus. And the only thing though is that we have to consider though is that we just have to take a leap of faith, because like I said many times already, but it's the main thing that is honestly of importance to me, is we haven't seen anything like this before. And so all of this is a gamble, you know, all of this is. We don't know if it's going to be worth the $600 until someone straps into an Oculus Rift. because we can't experience what that person is experiencing. Like if we watch, example, Markiplier, on YouTube, we watch him, he plays the Oculus. It seems really cool, but we're not the ones experiencing it. We're only gonna know if it's worth it, ultimately, until we strap in that Oculus Rift and play a game. That's the only time we're gonna be able to say if it's worth it. So for me personally, I'm still in the in-between. I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
But you have pre-ordered it.
I'm going to pre-order it. I'm taking that leap of faith. I'm taking that gamble, and I will be deciding on my own terms if it's going to be worth it or not.
Me personally, I would be more than happy taking the leap of faith and gamble for that, but I don't want to drop $600 right now. That's just me personally. I mean, I have other things I need to be looking out for, and it's especially since it's right after the holiday season, and
screwed us.
People who know me, I spend a lot of money on Christmas presents. So I need to get my money back before so who knows, maybe like within the last month of the Oculus coming out, I might pre-order it, but that's still a long shot.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to take the leap of faith, just I don't want to spend that money right now.
And then for me, I already have it pre-ordered.
Yeah, so I'm like there already.
Well, like I'm there already, but like
and the Eve Valkyrie was the kicker.
Well, Eve Valkyrie was like the main kicker, but then like seeing the capabilities that it has for just making gaming that much more exciting. And then again, like too, it's not just like once the Oculus comes out, there's no titles. That was the thing for me. I was like, oh, so I only get Eve Valkyrie in this Lucky's Tale game, which is like, I don't know.
What is that game?
It's like it looks like you're Sonic or like Sonic's friend, and you're just walking around getting coins. That's what it looks like.
It's Tails.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's it. I think I'm completely wrong.
Well, what's
that's
the title called?
Lucky's Tale. No, Lucky's Tale, but it's Tale, so it's probably not. That was just a guess, probably wrong. But
maybe.
You're a fox. Bottom line, you're a fox. But anyway, so like I don't know. I thought it was just those two games, and then I actually went on Steam and I typed in so many games have VR compatibility. Ark has VR, Subnautica has VR, all these different games out there that have VR compatibility that I'm really excited to see with
our
the
Ark
VR.
Let's Plays will take a whole new level.
But yeah, so with that, I think we've talked plenty about it. So again, this has been Let's Talk with the Refugees, joined by Yeti Snatcher, Dova Beats, and Lafui, and we will see you guys next time.
Later.
See you later.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for checking out our first episode of Let's Talk. What are your opinions? Do you think the Oculus Rift is worth it? What are your concerns? Do you think it's not worth it? Let us know in the comments below. As always, please leave a like, be sure to subscribe and share this with your buddies. We'll be seeing you guys in our next video. Till then.